Veronica, how are you?
I'm very good. And you?
I'm doing excellent. So Jungle Cruise is amazing. It's a certified hit. I saw it on the big screen. Amazing job. Now, this is the very first time Trader Sam is going to be seen cinematically. Can you talk to me about how the project came to you?
Well, it came the usual way through an audition. You know, Mary Bernu, the casting director of the movie, invited me to audition through my agent and manager. And I did one audition, and then it took like more or less 2 months, a month and a half, until I had an interview with the director. And then like 2 or 3 days later, they told me I got the job, which was amazing.
That's amazing. Now, are you familiar with Trader Sam's backstory at all?
Yeah, I mean, but it's very different.
Sure.
When like, of course, you read about it, and I was even in the Jungle Cruise ride. It was probably one of the first rides I took the first time I visited Disney when I was a young girl. And I never in 1,000 years imagined I was going to play Trader, but this is a new take on Trader. So of course we tried to use like the backstory, but I also, you know, tried to reimagine the character with all the information that I had on the script. And that's how, I mean, and these characters, you know, they're so iconic and they're so well thought that you basically just try to honor them. The costume designing of Paco Delgado is extraordinary. Same with the makeup of Joel Harlow and all his team. So really, you just need to step into the work of so many people and then just try to honor it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, a question about the character Trader Sam is what appealed to you the most about that character when you finally read the script and saw the new version of the character, the updated version of the character?
I think it's sense of wonder. You know, it's a character that has such a joy of life, and everything is fascinating and wonderful. And he, you know, she has a great sense of humor. She's very protective of her people. She's very smart, you know, and she can make all these deals happen. And, you know, and she has this wonderful friendship with Frank. And the fact that she's a woman and she's the boss and she's the chief of her tribe, you know, but even though she's all that and a little bit, she has this spiritual quality, you know, because she's also very wise. So the combination of all those things, I think, is quite fascinating.
It's amazing. Now, you also get to share the screen with some of the biggest actors in the world, Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt, and Jack Whitehall. Can you talk to me about working with them and sharing the screen with them and their experience on such a big, massive project with them?
Well, you know, it was incredibly easy and happy because they are what you see is what you get. You know, they're not faking it. They're not, I mean, they're great actors, but what you see is real. You know, they have a great relationship. They are fun and kind people. They really are. They made me feel very, very welcome. At first, you know, I have never worked in a project of this magnitude. And I was a bit intimidated of not, you know, like I want to do well with the character and I don't know how they're going to be. And they were the loveliest, kindest, most generous people I've worked with in a long time. And they were funny. You know, yeah. We laughed a lot. And it was funny because I started filming more or less 2 months after they started. So they already had this rapport, you know, and I came in and they were very welcoming. And at the same time, for me, it was so much fun. So what you see, when you see Trader eating a little fruit and watching the whole thing, if you see us backstage, it was kind of like the same thing. Like, you know, they were like doing all these jokes and I was just observing and laughing with them. So it was a great experience, you know, it's, and you also learn a lot, you know, you learn a lot because they're incredible pros. And not only they're incredibly prepared with what they're doing and they know what they're doing and they're great at it. They're also very present with everybody on set. They're kind and they're, you know, relaxed and there's no screaming and there's no attitude. And that's lovely, you know, to work with people that are some of the best in the world and you still see this kindness and this generosity.
Now, Frank, as the skipper, he has a ton of great puns and jokes in this. Do any jump out as your favorite?
You know what? I think the one of the eye, I don't remember what he says, like I had an eye and like she makes a whole, like 3 jokes about the eye thing. and it just cracks the hell out of me.
Me
Like,
too.
yeah, because it's just funny. It's very simple, but it is funny, you know. And I really love the reaction of Jack. Like Emily is like, your jokes, and Jack is cracking up, and just to see him, that's like funny and then funny again, you know. It's
Right.
just yeah.
So good. Now, can you talk about the collaboration process working with Jaume? Is it Jaume, Colette, Sarah, and what his directing style brought to the Jungle Cruise?
Well, he is incredible. You know, he is a very, very dedicated director. He was on top of things 24/7. I don't know how that man got through it because he really worked hard. You know, he was on top of everything. He was very passionate about it. I think everybody had a lot of heart, you know, like Disney really believed in this movie, Dwayne and Emily the same. But Jaume, I think if they were the heart of the movie, Jaume was the soul.
Right.
You know, he was incredible. He's a very serious director. You know, like sometimes it would be funny because he's really serious and he's really doing his work. And then we were all laughing because we were just having fun. And Jaume was like, okay, we have to do this take. And I felt a little bit like it was cool, you know, like, okay, we're having fun. And directors like, come on, guys, just do the work. And he's a great example, you know, because when you see a director so dedicated and putting all his heart and all his time and all his effort, and he was about to become a father when we were doing Jungle Cruise. And he is, you know, like sometimes we were like, Jaume, like, go do something. Rest. No, he was absolutely dedicated to the movie. So that's incredibly inspiring because when you see your stars being totally into it and your director and everybody else, that's the least you can do.
Right.
So it's inspiring for all of us, you know, and then everybody, it's like a synergy that starts being created. And Jaume was funny because when I met him, you know, I met him on the phone for an interview. And funny enough, I was on a holiday in Barcelona in Spain, and that's where he's from. So he was like, where are you? I say, I'm in your town. He's like, oh, well, have a paella, because they have like great food in Spain, as you know. And I just thought it was funny that the time I met the director, I was on a holiday in his hometown. Yeah, he was fantastic.
It was meant to be, obviously. It was definitely meant to be.
And you know, Jaume was incredibly patient. You know, like he would be patiently explain you what he needed. He was very clear at communicating with us actors. So yeah, that was fun.
It's amazing. Now, you had such great comedic moments as Trader Sam ditching McGregor on the submarine. Can you talk about infusing comedy into the character?
Well, it's all in the script, you know, and it's the direction of Jaume, and I'm playing with Jack, and Jack is phenomenal. You know, the man can do stand-up, can do basically anything. So I'm basically incredibly protected by all of that, by a wonderful script, by a great director, and by my castmates. So it's really not on me, you know, like, yeah, the character is funny itself, and it's so well written, and the timing. And, you know, when you work with someone like Jack that has such a great comedic chops, you really just have to be very present and let him get you there and jump into it, because it's like dancing with a great dancer. You know, you may know how to dance, but then they will help you around, and then you do something and it works, and then it starts building from there.
I love that.
Yeah, but it's all in the script, really.
I love that. Now, do you remember your first time that you read The Jungle Cruise? And if you do you remember some of the things that stood out to you the most about the ride?
It was my first time in Disneyland. We had been wanting to go to Disneyland for a long time, but I lived in Mexico, come from a middle-class family, so it took a while. And then when we went there, it was in winter. So it was very cold. And I think we took the ride, and I remember my brother was 3 years younger. So I was 11, he must have been 10, 9, 8, must have been 7 or 8. And he really wanted to touch all the animals in the water, but it was very cold. So my mother kept pulling him, and he kept going, and we kept pulling, and it became a tug of war between both of them. And I that's one of my images, you know, seeing them like my mom not wanting him to get wet and him wanting to jump with the animals. And he really, I remember his face. He was like, they're real. They are like, and I'm like, I didn't want to tell him like, it's a ride. Like
Right.
he probably thought we were there because he was younger. And then you get into that convention and it almost starts feeling like it's real. And it was a great time. You know,
You know what?
we laughed a lot about that.
Even that you said that now, my first memory of that ride was also thinking, I was like 4 and I also thought it was real at the time. And like all the animals, like I thought the alligators were real. It was a whole thing, but I do remember that. But about Trader Sam, what did you want to bring to the role of Trader Sam that wasn't necessarily on the page?
Well, I think really everything was on page. One of the things I love about the character, it's as I say, the sense of wonder and the joy. You
Sure.
know, it's not something I bring; it is there. But I like to you know the fact that she is a woman and that she can play all these roles to her people, like, you know, because she is like a, you know, she's buying and selling stuff, she's protecting them, she's guiding them spiritually, she's also having fun. You know, I could totally see her spending time with the kids in the village just playing and discovering things, you know, being that empowered. I think is something that's important to watch. You know, a female that that was ahead of her time. But all
Absolutely.
that is in the script, and the thing that I try to bring to the character is that joy. You know, the joy of being able to do so many things at a time where women couldn't do it. You know, I mean, you see it very clearly with the character of Emily. We were talking that these two characters are ahead of their times. And, you know, she's a doctor and a scientist, and she's a fantastic woman and is willing to explore and go to the end of the world and wear pants, which in those days was
Right.
unheard of. You know, and then this other character, you know, it's in the Amazon and she's protecting her people and she's creating all these ideas to make a little bit more, you know, to get more money to maybe, you know, make her village a little better. And you know, he gets into these dealings with Frank. And it's just I love that. I love the sense of independence and empowerment of the character.
Now, if there was a Jungle Cruise sequel, would you want to explore more of Trader Sam's story? And how would you like to see that story evolve?
However Disney wants, you know, I'm sure they would know very well what they would do with that. I would be blessed just to play it again. You know, like if that ever happens, and they decide to invite me to play trader, I would absolutely love to. And you know, yeah, I'd love to see, you know, how their relationship with Frank happened. You know, how they became such good friends. That'll be a fun part to see. But actually, or what happens after? You know,
Sure.
like, you know, what happens when they are in England? Maybe they come back and maybe trader already has like you know, another kind of business going. I don't know. You know, that's up to them. They have an incredible minds that create so wonderful, you know, movies. So I'm sure they will come up with something fantastic. And I just would love to be part of it if they invite me.
Well,
Yes.
I would love to see you a part of it. And you're also on one of my favorite shows. It's gonna be your. I'm sure you're shooting it now, season 4, Ozark.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything you can tell me about that show? I look every single time I watch that. I binged it. Me and my girlfriend binged it. She introduced me to
Yeah.
it. We
I mean,
binged it within like a week, the whole thing, and I was hooked. Anything you can tell me about the upcoming season?
I can tell you that it's gonna be fantastic. I mean, if you like the first 3 seasons, this one is really gonna, I think they're really doing, they always did an extraordinary job, but because it's probably the last season, it's beyond, you know, I got the opportunity to read all the scripts. I'm not in all in all the season, but I'm in part of it. And I couldn't stop, you know, like I was like, oh my God. Oh my, and then I thought, I'm so lucky, you know, I get to read all this before anybody sees it, you know, as a fan, because I was a fan of the show, and I'm a big fan of Lauren and Jason. They're fantastic actors. So just the fact that I'm able to play with them and to be part of this show is amazing.
Well, Veronica,
And
you cannot tell me it's the last season. You cannot. I hope it's not the last season. I hope it continues on for much longer. I hope it's not.
We all would, but I think that's what they said, you know. It's going to be a long one, though.
Good. Well, that's good to hear.
Very, very long one. And I think people are going to love it. And yeah, you're going to like it. It's great.
Well, look, I can't wait. You did an amazing job in the Jungle Cruise, and I can't wait to see more of you. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, Veronica.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Take care. Thank you so much.